All right, so continuing on, we have the vacuole, vacuoles, plural. And so this is what they look like. They're like nice and little blue. Okay, and they are small and numerous in animal cells. So you can see there's one here, one here. I can't tell if the rest of these are blue. Yeah, this one's blue, blue, blue. Yeah, so they're all just kind of spread out throughout the cell. And there is actually one large central one in plant cells, and it's called a central vacuole, and that's what this one looks like. So it's really big. And so the job of the vacuole is to store water, nutrients, waste. So there has to be some kind of storage facility in a cell to be able to house certain things. And so that is the role of the vacuole or the central vacuole in a plant cell. And once more, these are not present in prokaryotic cells. Next up, centrioles, otherwise known as centrosomes. So this is what they look like over here. And so these are present in the cell, and they are made of microtubules. So they look like those right here. And so the job of a centriole, or the job of a centrosome, is to appear during cell division, mitosis. And so they help the cell divide by pulling chromosomes apart. And we will go over that a lot when we talk about mitosis, but basically there's just something in the cell called a centriole, or slash also called a centrosome. And it appears when a cell is about to divide, and it helps that cell by pulling the chromosome. It uses those microtubules as kind of attachments. That's kind of like cables to attach to the chromosome. Chromosomes hold our genetic information, so this happens in the nucleus of a cell. And since chromosomes are kind of double-stranded, I don't know if you've seen that model where they kind of look like this, where there's a chromosome here and a chromosome here, and then they're joined together in the middle. So the job of the centriole or the centrosome is to attach to those chromosomes with those microtubules and pull those chromosomes apart, because we want to pull them apart, and then we want to replicate them, and then we want to split that cell into two. So that is the role of this organelle. And so they're located right there. They're not located in plant cells. Plants do not perform mitosis, and they are not located in prokaryotic cells. So they are only present in animal cells. Animal cells only. Next up, we have something called cilia and flagella. I'll repeat that. Cilia and flagella. Okay, and so cilia, what is that? It is shorter and more numerous, and they are kind of like tiny oars for the cell. And so flagella, they are longer, but they have fewer of them. So let me just kind of put this up here for a second. Okay, and so this is an example of flagella in a prokaryotic cell, and so it's just kind of protruding from here. And basically, the job for both is to move something across the cell. And so cilia move fluid across the cell surface, and flagella move the entire cell. So think of this as kind of like I just said earlier, well, kind of like a tiny oar, but for this, maybe more like a fin or a tail of like a mermaid. So this little flagella is going to flutter back and forth, and that is what's going to propel that prokaryotic cell forward. So it's going to move that entire cell. And cilia, over here, they move fluid across a cell surface. So those are going to be located on the outside here. They are present in our airways. So the bronchi and just that tube that we breathe through up here, it has cilia there, and it just helps move stuff along. And so cilia and flagella are present in animal and bacterial cells only. So no plant cells. All right, we're moving right along now. We're at mitochondria. So everyone, please say it with me. We all know what mitochondria are. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. Good. If you didn't know that, I'm shocked. If you've never heard that sentence before, I'm shocked. So there are two parts of mitochondria, the inner membrane and the matrix. So the membrane is right here, and then there's the fluid part. And so the job of the mitochondria is where a process called cellular respiration happens. And cellular respiration is a process that breaks down food to release energy as ATP. So kind of like when we were doing our macromolecules unit, that cellular respiration is essentially the next step. So once we've ingested that food, then how exactly do we get energy from glucose? So remember, glucose is the form of currency that cells use. So they need, give me a glucose, I'll give you some energy. And they do that in the form of ATP. So a molecule, it is called adenosine triphosphate. That is what ATP stands for. And so we store energy as ATP, and through the process of cellular respiration, we break down the food that we ingest to release energy. And so that is why mitochondria is called the powerhouse of the cell, because it is producing energy from our food. They are not present in bacteria. Chloroplasts. All right, talking about this one again. So there are two parts to a chloroplast. There are two parts to a chloroplast: the grana, which are the stacks right here, and the stroma, which is the fluid surrounding those grana. And so the job of the chloroplast, like I stated earlier, is where photosynthesis happens. And so what is photosynthesis? Well, it's the opposite of cellular respiration. Photosynthesis converts energy from the sun and turns that energy into sugar. So the light beams down on the plant soaks up that sunlight energy and then uses that to convert molecules into energy, so that into glucose specifically, so that it may use it for food and to break down to get energy from that, or they may use it to create cellulose. Yeah, chloroplasts. They are not present in anything but plant cells. So plants are the only ones out of the three that perform photosynthesis. Cell wall. We're getting down to the end here, guys, I promise. So a cell wall is made of cellulose in plants, the molecule chitin in funguses, and peptidoglycan in bacteria. And the purpose of a cell wall is to protect and maintain the shape of a cell. And they are not present in animal cells. They are only present in plant and bacterial cells. And then remember how I talked about vacuoles earlier? Well, now we're going to talk about specifically the central vacuole, so this big one. And so it is one massive central structure, and its job, like the other vacuoles, is a storage center, so specifically in plant cells. Yep, there it is. All right, it's practice time. So look over your notes or go back in the video, maybe watch it one more time, just from this when we started talking about the specific organelles. And I want you to try and remember what the name is for each organelle that's listed here. So I'm going to go one by one, and I want you to try and remember. All right, so let's see. Number one, what do we think this is? What is this? What about number two? This space right here. What about number three? This little organelle right here. What about number four? This organelle right here. What about number five? What about number six? Number seven? Number eight? Number nine? Number 10, number 11, and number 12. And we'll see. Hopefully you managed to get 100%. If not, hopefully by the end of this unit, you will definitely be able to get 100%. Next up, so that was an animal cell. Now I want you to do the same thing with a plant cell. All right, one more time. Number one, what do we think this is? Number two. Number three. number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, can't see it over here, but number 8, number 9, the space, 10, 11, and 12. All right, so hopefully again you managed to remember most of them, or hopefully some of them. So then I want you to turn to page 7 in your unit packet, and instead of a summary this time, you are going to fill out a Venn diagram like this one. So it has prokaryotes over here on the left side, and then eukaryotes over here on the right side. And so, and then this little middle section, for those of you that maybe, I don't know, maybe you've never done a Venn diagram before, this is where you will put qualities the types of organisms have. And so these would be shared characteristics. These would be prokaryote specific characteristics. And then these will be eukaryote specific characteristics. Okay. And then the second one you will be completing is a Venn diagram comparing and contrasting animal cells to plant cells. So animal specific characteristics, plant specific characteristics, and then the shared ones between the two. All right, and that is the end of Concept 1, Cell Theory and Organelles.